In this video, I'm going to break down 2 reasons sex disappears, how to bring this up with her that will actually yield results, and most importantly, what you need to do to fix it without begging, chasing, or killing whatever attraction is left. Jessica OS here, welcome to the channel. If you find yourself in this situation, you're in the right place at the right time. Let's jump right in. 2 reasons sex disappears or declines in relationships. You've been told that sex fades because of time, comfort, or familiarity, that long-term relationships naturally lose that edge, that eventually things just settle down. And that's not entirely true. What actually happens is far specific and far more dangerous if you don't understand it. Sex doesn't disappear because of time. It disappears because of a combination of things that creep in so quietly that you don't even notice them happening. Now, I need you to think back to the beginning of your relationship, not just what you did, but how you felt. You were sharper, more present, slightly unpredictable, and she was trying to figure you out. There was curiosity, tension. There was a sense that she hadn't fully locked you in yet. Now, fast forward. Your energy is consistent, but not in a good way. It's flat, safe, known. Familiarity builds comfort, but attraction needs a level of uncertainty to stay alive. And by uncertainty, I mean emotional variation. You see, comfort is great for companionship. It's terrible for desire when it's not balanced. When a woman feels completely certain about you, secure in your availability, and completely familiar with your behavior, her need to reach for you disappears, and desire is built in that reaching. A lot of men respond to declining sex by becoming even better partners, more attentive, more accommodating, more available, and you think, well, if I do more, she'll want me more. But what actually happens is sometimes the opposite. You become easier to have and harder to desire, because desire isn't about how much you give. It has everything to do with how you make her feel. And if your presence no longer creates emotional movement, then no amount of doing more is going to fix that. Now, the second reason is emotional flatlining. The silent killer, emotional flatlining, is when your interactions become predictable, and not just in behavior, but in emotional tone. Every conversation feels the same. Every interaction feels neutral. There's no teasing, no pushback, no spark. You've removed all the friction from the relationship in an attempt to keep things smooth. But friction in small doses is what actually creates energy. Without it, the relationship feels like it's running on autopilot. And autopilot creates routine. Routine, however, is where desire slowly dies. So when you say, we don't have sex anymore, what you're really describing is this. The emotional and psychological conditions that create desire are no longer present because the dynamic between you changed over time. And you fix this by restoring the conditions that made sex happen naturally. That means reintroducing emotional variation, rebuilding your independence, becoming less predictable in her presence, creating moments that she can feel again. How you talk about it matters. You've been patient, understanding, but now it's obvious. The intimacy is gone and it's bothering you, so you bring it up. On the surface, it sounds reasonable. We never have sex anymore. What's going on with you? I feel like you're not attracted to me. It's logical, it's direct, it's honestly how you feel. But it backfires almost every single time. Because when you bring up sex from a place of frustration, need, or lack, you're not just communicating a concern, you're placing a spotlight on her behavior, right? And that instantly will create pressure. Now, she's not thinking, I want him. She's thinking, I'm being evaluated. And the moment desire feels like something she's being graded on, it shuts down. Because desire is spontaneous, emotional, and internal. Pressure, however, turns it into a task. And nobody wants to feel like they have to perform sexually to fix a problem. Let's go one layer deeper, because this is where the damage actually happens. What you say is, we're not having enough sex. What she hears is, you're failing me. You're responsible for my frustration. You need to change so I feel better. Even if you don't mean it that way, that's how it lands. And now you shift that dynamic from attraction to obligation, from desire to duty, from connection to correction. And once sex becomes something she feels she should do instead of something she wants to do, you've already lost the battle. Now she pulls back slightly because she feels pressure. You notice the difference and feel even more rejected. So you bring it up again, maybe in a different way. And now she pulls back even more. And before you realize it, there's a vicious loop, a vicious cycle, right? The more you try to fix it through conversation, the worse it gets. Every conversation basically is reinforcing the same thing. This is a problem that you need to fix. And again, that will kill her desire. Know this and know peace. Attraction is not logical. You cannot talk someone into wanting you. You cannot reason your way into desire. You can't negotiate chemistry. You get her to want you by becoming someone she feels something for again. So what should you do instead? Don't ignore the issue, but stop attacking it directly. Instead of saying, we don't have sex anymore, shift your focus to the dynamic. Start paying attention to how you show up, the energy you bring, the emotional tone between you, because that's where the real problem lives. There's a big difference between addressing something from need and addressing it from grounded confidence. Need says, why aren't you giving me this? Confidence says, something in this dynamic isn't working and I'm going to shift it. One creates pressure, the other creates movement. You can't fix a sex-starved relationship by talking about sex. You fix it by changing the emotional experience of the relationship. Remember that. And that, of course, will start with you. Because the moment you stop trying to convince her to want you and start becoming someone that she naturally responds to again, that's when everything will begin to shift in a way that actually will last. Guys, if you're starting to see where you might be going wrong, I want you to do me a favor and hit that button and subscribe. Because this is the kind of uncomfortable truth that most people avoid, but it's exactly what fixes your situation. How to rebuild attraction without begging for it. So this is where a lot of guys make a mistake. They swing from one extreme to the other when they find themselves in this situation. They go from chasing to withdrawing completely, from overgiving to acting distant and cold, from trying too hard to pretending they don't care. That's not recalibration. It's reaction. And reaction is still weakness. You see, what you need is controlled, intentional change. A shift in how you show up that naturally rebuilds attraction without making it obvious that you're trying to. So let's get into it. First, stop performing and start recentering yourself. I'll strip this down. So if your energy has been focused on how do I get her to want me again, you're already off track. Your first move is internal. Shift your focus back to yourself. Structure, routine, priorities, not in a dramatic way, not as a statement, but quietly. Start moving like a man who has direction again. And here's what that will do for you. It will change how she experiences you. Number 2, reintroduce uncertainty without playing games. So let me set this straight. You're not trying to confuse her or manipulate her. You're simply removing the predictability that has made you easy to ignore. So before, she knew exactly how you respond, exactly how available you'd be, exactly how much effort you'd give. But now there's variation. 3, bring back the emotional edge. Now I know that a lot of guys feel uncomfortable with this because they've been conditioned to think that being agreeable is the safest way to maintain a relationship. It's not. Attraction needs contrast. So you bring back edge, you tease her, not in a disrespectful way, but in a way that creates playfulness. You disagree sometimes. You express your opinions without filtering everything to keep the peace, right? You stop trying to be easy and start being real about how you feel, what you feel, etc. And here's what happens. She'll start to feel you again, not just as a stable presence, but as a man with personality, boundaries, and emotional range. Number 4, you rebuild your life outside of her. What I need you to do is to invest in your work, fitness, social life, your interests, not as a tactic, but as a necessity. Because the more full your life is, the less you need from her. And paradoxically, the less you need, the more attractive you'll become. 5, you let her come to you without forcing it. Now, here's the part that patience comes in. You see, once you shift your behavior, there's going to be a period where nothing happens immediately. And this is where a lot of guys will start to panic, thinking, hey, it's not working. Then they go back to chasing, etc., and that's the mistake. Attraction rebuilds in a subtle way. She might start initiating small conversations. She might become more attentive. She might test your availability. Your job is not to jump to it. Your job is to stay consistent in your new energy. Because the moment you overreact to small signs of interest, basically what you're going to do is you're going to collapse and get back into the old dynamic. When to walk away. There comes a point where effort is no longer the issue. Reality is. Every relationship goes through dry phases. Stress, life changes, health issues, emotional dips. These are temporary disruptions. But a dead dynamic is when the underlying attraction has been gone for a long time and nothing you do changes how she responds to you. You can feel the difference if you're honest. In a dry phase, however, there's still warmth, effort. There's still some level of emotional connection. In a dead dynamic, everything will feel forced. Conversations will feel like obligations. Physical touch feels mechanical or avoided. You're no longer being responded to. You're being tolerated. That's not a phase. That's a shift in how she feels and sees you. If you've improved, but nothing changes, you have to stop asking, what else can I do? And start asking, what am I staying for? Because if real change on your end produces no shift on her end, then the issue is no longer the dynamic, but the issue becomes compatibility. So I guess what I'm saying with this point is you definitely need to know when to walk away and when a situation doesn't serve your purposes anymore. Because doing anything else at that point will just be foolishness. I hope this video uncovered some thoughts for you. If it helped you, smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Jessica OS here. I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.